Good morning, folksies. How are we all doing? Now, this week I'm struggling on what to do. It's Tuesday, and I've been looking around. And I thought that apart from having a clear up, which you wouldn't be interested in, there's nothing for me to film. I'm at a loss. So I thought to myself, let's get the carburetor done on this. Got a bit lazy, sorry. Yeah, I got a bit lazy. Hold on. I've pressed the buy it now button. I couldn't afford it, but I did it for a manifold already machined up. Already machined up for that. The carburetor itself, I did some research on it, just went over some paper, and then I'll print out the research and then I'll show you what I found and what I'm intending or would like to intend to do, and to whether I can do it or not. But for that I need stats in front of me. I need to print the paper. Right. And let's be honest, it's been a while since I've looked at this, so we have got a bit of corrosion now starting, but even so, that don't look out of place at all, do it? But sadly, those carburetors are not working for me. They need rebuild kits. I had a catastrophe, complete blowout of that gasket. So that's got to come off regardless. I bought a new gasket. New gasket can go on, not an issue. I've ordered another manifold, but I think when the message comes through from the company, he's going to want that manifold posted to him, so he can modify this one, and he offers to put powder coat on it, which I actually don't want because it don't stick to aluminium very well, as we all know. It's terrible. Every aluminium part I've had has always ended up peeling at some point, so for me it's not an option. So we're putting a holley on here. Some of the research that I've done, I've now come to the conclusion it's a 650 CFM. It's too big for this engine, but I'm still going to fit it all the same. I'm still going to try and run it with that all the same. Once I've got the manifold sorted out, at least then I've got options to look for another holley carburetor. It shouldn't be too difficult to find a second-hand one that's at the right rating. Okay, right, so I'm going to take this manifold off now, because as I said, I've got another one coming, and he might need an exchange done. I don't really want to send him this one. I'd rather send him the red one I had lying around here, but I have no idea where that is, and I've got a funny feeling I've already scrapped it, or it's at the bottom of that pile somewhere. I'm not sure which. So I'll have to take the carbs off this one and just literally chuck this one away, which is a perfectly good Lincoln manifold. Everything is freed up on it, and it's just nothing wrong with it. But that's kind of the way it is, really. So why did that gasket at the back explode in the manner that it did? Right, let me explain what I did before all of this happened. This wouldn't run. I'm pumping fuel through, and for some reason wasn't going into the carburetors whatsoever. Couldn't get any compression, I suppose, vacuum maybe, I'm not really sure what was going on, but those carbs, which I cleaned, were not filling. I couldn't get fuel in them. If there was fuel going in, it certainly wasn't entering the chambers like it was meant to. So what I'm thinking is the inlet valves were stuck open. That does happen with these Rovers when they're sitting for a very, very long period of time. Things get stuck. I'm actually worried I've got some bent push rods, so I need to check that as well, because that means heads off. I have some spare head gaskets though, so brand new. Anyway, I took the manifold off. I sealed that manifold down with gasket sealer. When I put it back on, I didn't clean the gasket sealer up. I just put it back on. At this point, I'm trying to get it to fill up again, and it still ain't doing it. So then I resort to throwing gas or petrol through the inlets of the carburetors, spilling it everywhere. So it was landing on the chamber, it was going everywhere. Bear in mind, this engine is sparking. Anyway, I'm running the engine over, nothing. And all of a sudden, there was one almighty explosion where that erupted open. What had happened is all the fuel that had landed in there had gone through the gaps and had found its way into the chambers. I will hasten to add, as soon as that happened, I don't know what it did, but it did decide to run after that. I then managed to get fuel into the filter bowl, and it did actually run for a while, but it weren't great. I don't like those carbs, never have done. People swear by them. It's all down to personal preference. They're not my personal preference. I would rather have a holley or if I can say it correctly, an Ellenbrock, is that how you class them? Carburetor on there. There's one single carburetor, and I've watched enough on TV now to get a good idea on how they are to set up. And if you're thinking about hollies, carburetors and all that lot, go and check out a channel called Junkyard Digs. That young lad is very, very knowledgeable, and he goes through carburetors in great detail. Very much an admirer of that young man. So there you go. That's what I'm doing. I've now ordered a pre-made or modified manifold to fit a holley. However, we'll go through the paperwork later of why I think that holley is too big for the job. It was a case of let's just get it, see what we can do with it, see if we can clean it up, and if we can't, we'll resell it or we'll stick it on shelf for something else at a later date. I just recorded all of this and had it on pause, so the important stuff I was trying to demonstrate is now gone, because what I was talking about was there was a splinter of weld inside, alley weld in there, and I had it in my hand. I've been fiddling around with it after I spoke about it, and I've dropped it on the floor not realising, and I don't know where it's dropped. So trying to prove to you that there was a splint of weld in there, other than flashing 2 photos up, if I can remember to do it, is all the evidence I've got. So yeah, okay. So apart from the fact that there was some weld in my air intake that I knocked out, and this is not level, but it's not out by much. I don't know how, I don't even know what, hang on. Right, let's try that. There is some discrepancies. You can see daylight through that. It might not be enough to make any difference. The gaskets might take that up. The other thing you've got to look at also is when I bolt that down, it might straighten that all out. It might. I'm not expecting it to though. But the biggest headache, the biggest irritation is if I hadn't had somebody look through those barrels, because I didn't spot it, somebody else has spotted it. All that weld that was sticking out, if that had fallen off, that could have gone in my intake. I am furious about that. I've emailed the guy on eBay that does the conversions, and he's now refusing to talk to me. I'm not asking for any money back. I'm not asking for any of that. I just want maybe him to acknowledge that yeah, a mistake was made, and if he has an apprentice or somebody else doing the work, that they get reprimanded for it. My other concern is also is this hole size don't really look big enough. On the Ellenbrock, they cut it across at an angle on both sides, and I think that should have been done. So I am considering maybe cutting that myself and getting some alley made up and getting a welder to update that area, really, because this gap from here to here is quite large, and that is the chamber. As the fuel goes through on this side, it flies round and comes down into number 6, and it does the same on this side for number 4, as well as feeding number 1 and whatever number that is. And here it's really large, unnecessarily large in my opinion, and I think he should have cut across to an angle instead, like they have done on the Ellenbrock. So this might not work still. It wasn't the height issue between that port and this port that was my issue, not that at all. It was the size of this damn hole. It's tiny, and this one is huge, and obviously you've got to have CFMs to pull the vacuum through, and the only thing I can think of now to counteract that is to put a steel plate over the top and actually bring that plate across to here and across to there, so this hole size is the same as this hole size. That's all I can think of. That might increase the vacuum and get those old butterflies working on the secondaries, but other than that, I don't know. This is not going to work. I'm still convinced it's not going to work, but I do acknowledge that 2 of you have come in. One of them lives around the corner from me, and another one online came in, and he came in online, so I won't name him because obviously doesn't want to be named, otherwise he'd have put a message up, as you do. So yeah, I appreciate your input on that one, but to be fair, it wasn't the height issue that I was concerned about, it was the hole size. That is tiny, absolutely tiny. Right, I've done all I can do on this now. I need the spacer, unfortunately. So I've put servo control back on that one, but to be honest, I didn't need to. I have others that I could fit onto, you know, the breathers here, but I've done it onto that one anyway. Distributor, I put that one there. I have a blank for that if I need it. This ideally, I think, needs to go in the middle of the spacer, but I don't have any means of drilling and cutting a thread of that size, but I do have other threads, so I might be able to run a bolt through and then drill the center of the bolt out, take the bolt out and then run it on the lathe and cut and do it that way. But until that turns up, that spacer, there's not a lot I can do about it. I have a blank. I'd rather put a blank over there anyway, if I'm honest. I've got the unit for that, but that's it. No, I have one half of it here. There we go. So that's got to go on with some sealing string, as I like to call it. Plumber string. I've got some around here somewhere, but top of my head I don't know where it is. So that's got to go back on. This is now redundant because the throttle's coming to the side instead. So what I might do instead is get a piece of steel, run that across and up, put a bolt straight through and run the throttle through the cable straight on, and then put a spring somewhere around here, so piece of metal come off, spring on the arm, so the arm returns automatically, which I don't even need to do that, but would be wise. I mean, it was originally rods that... That's lovely, but that's built really well. I'm actually quite impressed. Not bad for a bit of American stuff, eh? Actually, I can do this. There is the spag of weld. It's on my mobile phone, if you can see that. There you go. That's what I took out of the inlet port. And this one's a bit of a difficult one. But if you look closely, you can see it in situ. That is actually inside the port. And he was claiming that wasn't visible in the photo of what I was talking about. Basically what I was trying to say was I don't care. Anyway, enough of that. Right, I've got that off. You stop biting my leg. Yeah, anyway, sorry. Dog won't leave me alone. Stop it. Pulled off, you can see it's completely blown that way. Blew that up, knocked that thread out, that hole out there, and creased all the rest of it up. That was one heck of a misfire. Now, damage. I don't see any. But I do see that water, or is that oil? No, that is oil. I've got crap in here. Where does that come from? What's this? Rust. It must have fell off the gasket when it imploded. Okay. We need to have a quick clean up before we put the new one in. I've also fitted the studs to the manifold. I've got a feeling I'll be removing them again. Oh, where is it? There it is. Because I put them on the inside, which matches the carburetor, but when I put the 2-inch spacer in, I think these are going to be in the way. So these are probably going to have to move over to those. In fact, I think really I should do it now. Just get it over and done with. So I'm going to clean up some of that rust. I'll use the wife's hoover, she won't know. She's gone out. The manifold is in, as best as I can get it anyway. New valley gaskets fitted. I haven't put the water hose in at the bottom yet, which is going to be a nightmare, I might add. We'll do that another day. I'll get the carb on tomorrow, hopefully, and then we'll put some sort of fuel line in place with a pump and see what we can get out of this damn thing. Not a lot. It's powder coated inside here as well for some weird reason. Anyway, till tomorrow. We are hemorrhaging money because I am making mistakes. I asked a friend, and it isn't completely on him, this is mainly on me. Yet again, failed to read up. It's a very complicated world out there when it comes to Edelbrock and holley and what fits and what doesn't, and my God, what a minefield. Anyway, I have got my adapter, but it don't fit because it's not a spread bore one, which I thought it was. And as nice as it looks, it's shit. I have well and truly goofed up here, and I don't have. What was that socket? If I had some aluminium of that thickness, I would literally cut that bottom one off, throw the top one away, and I'd make that bugger fit. But these are so big, so no, I'm not going to destroy that. That will come in handy, because if this carburetor, as everyone keeps telling me, isn't going to work, and also other people are saying it will, because I've got a 50-50 at the moment to whether this is going to happen. I took the attitude in the end and said just put it on and see what happens. So this is what I'm going to do. I ain't got a choice in the matter. I've got some steel lying around still over there. No, I haven't. Where's it gone? I have some steel lying around here somewhere. I haven't used it all. These will get out. Go on, out. Get yourself hurt. Out, out, out. Go on. Where the hell have I put it? Hang on a minute. Somewhere in this shed, and I do not know where I put it, but I have got it. I don't recall using it. A little square down there. Ah, here it is, right in front of my damn nose. Another piece here. Right, okay. So, over the weekend, keep my mind occupied, I am going to make 2 adapter plates like that, but out of steel. And somewhere around here, and if I haven't got any, I'll have to come up with another idea. Got a little bit of gas left over, got woven wire. We will make a ready adapter, a 2-inch adapter to plonk onto that, I've got some gasket material around here somewhere that a friend gave me, real thick stuff. I don't know where I put it, but I have got it. Definitely have not thrown that away. It must be at least 2mm thickest stuff, nightmare to cut apparently. But I just don't know where I put it. Where the hell have I put it? It is in here somewhere, okay? So I will make a bloody spread bore adapter. Simple as that, because I have now had enough. I keep faffing around on the internet buying stuff. I found an Edelbrock adapter plate for 25 quid, but I have no clue if it would fit on that. It should do, but I don't actually know the answer to that. And even if I was to space that out by putting the space, these are still not going to open. I'll show you, look, where the difference is. As I said, I'm wasting money. Look at that, terrible, isn't it? it's not going to happen. Even that air gap up there, look, it's wrong. So there you go. We've got the gasket we can use as a template for where the holes are going to go. And I think what we'll have to do is we'll have to trace that all out carefully. I mean, it's got holley written on the carburetor. I was just sitting there in my head thinking, yeah, is actually a Edelbrock with holley parts on it. Actually, I don't know the difference between the two carbs. I'm that much of a numbskull on the technology. I just don't know. I'm entering a realm of cluelessness, and that's never a good thing because it usually comes out very expensive. So far, if this don't work, 70 quid, and if that don't work, 50 quid, and that terrible manifold, which I'm not happy with, 275 quid, wiped out. And I've been moaning all this time about how much money it would cost to get a rebuild kit for those SUs. It would have been cheaper to do that. What a tosser. But I'm learning a little bit as I go by. Oh, shut up, you lot that are shouting in the background. We ain't learning about whatever. I'm learning, all right. I am slowly getting it together. I don't understand what's gone wrong here. I thought these bolt patterns were all the same and that the hole sizes would be, but no, they're not. So I've got to build a plate that is going to be wider on the outside edge. I could get an engineering shop to weld them all up, remachine that. So hang on, I could get an engineering shop to weld. No, I couldn't because it still wouldn't work. It still wouldn't work. Not a hope in hell. Not a hope in hell. Yeah. Sorry, I need to keep the camera where the camera is. It is so close to that edge. To give you an example. No, you can see that. No, you can't see it. That's all I can say of that one. Right. I want this video out tomorrow. So, I'm going to upload today. See you next week. Bye.